All right, well, this is probably everyone got. Hi, everyone. My name's Dave. Just to explain the title of this, the new thing in InfoSec these days is to talk about imposter syndrome and how everyone feels all weird. This was me just throwing a title out there that I actually meant to change but never got around to. That at the end of the day, I think a lot of problems with InfoSec is people like showing what they do and like, oh, look how awesome and badass this is. I'm so smart. When at the end of the day, a lot of it's just you figured out something clever and anyone can do this. So at the end of the day, I feel like we're all script kiddies. So that was kind of where this talk came from. The main part of this talk is domains for evil. We all do a lot of fun stuff with domains, depending on what you do for like red teaming or pen testing. And if we have enough time, there's actually a B-side, and we'll get to that if we do. But either way, who am I? I'm Dave. I'm old. I have weird interests. I've got a bunch of certs. My title is Red Team Operator at a company called ReliaQuest out of Tampa. And by the way, we're hiring. Hi. So I love throwing this slide in there because I'm horrible at public speaking. But as I was saying, red teaming. I'm part of a red team. We sell what we call continuous red teaming services, where essentially that just means we tend to just hack and mess with our customers for a month. I wish it was as open-ended as that sounds, but it's usually something kind of directed, and then there's the dreaded report at the end, kind of like a pen test. I can probably say that with enough time, we have a 100% success ratio, and that sounds really, really awesome too. But you know, back to the theme of the script kiddies, and everyone can do this. Let's look into that a little bit. Back to, we want to make everything look really cool. So stuff we've done some hardware reversing and analysis, finding consoles and devices that customers have sent us, figure out stuff to do with that. We've left USB sticks. We've found machines that are publicly accessible at customers and gotten in through that. And then the lovely favorite of physical, we have done the physical. So Ian's not here, but hi, Jonathan. Yeah, that actually is our office because we treat ourselves as a customer. So they had a little bit of inside info but didn't use anything and actually did break in very successfully. So at the end though, why am I saying we're all script kiddies? What's the way that we get into most of these? It's a phish. Whether it's we send something just to get credentials or actually send some sort of, and let's be honest, the malware we send, what's it going to be? It's a Word doc that someone clicks on and says, sure, I'll enable those macros. That sounds like a great idea. So here's my problem. Phishing after a while gets boring. There's an initial like thrill, like hell yeah, I got in there, I got that customer. You know, it's the win of getting into a site that you're sort of not supposed to be at, but also you know you've got this. You did something to show a customer and have something documented. You show the customer value for the money they're paying. But it really does get kind of boring after a while. I mean, it's more fun to try to do the other stuff, but phishing's what works. So my thought in this talk is how to kind of speed some of that up and make that a little bit easier. So how to detect evil domains. This started with a conversation from a gentleman I work with, Casey, and it was a conversation of how to detect evil domains, what evil domains look like. The conversation was mostly about command and control networks, but domains being used for evil, whether it's for phishing and CNC, you kind of need to look at a domain and kind of know what looks bad to you. So what he had been discussing, and it's pretty good ideas overall, is categorization, stuff like Blue Coat. What do they have it listed as? Has it been categorized? That means probably it's been around for a while. The TLD, not finding random weird ones like I just got out of Larry Pesch's talk, and he had a bunch of .wang domains. That looks a little bit weird, but you know, .com, .net, cool, those are the good old ones. And then the big one, age. Was this domain created just a couple days ago, or has it been around for a while? So while we had this talk, I actually picked up a domain that I'd had for a while and used in an engagement, and just kind of went through and looked. It was a .com, yes. It was 6 months old. This is legitimate age on it at the time. Okay, fine, let's look at it. So then I put it into Blue Coat's thing, and it came back and said, yes, it's been categorized as technology. I had never used this domain. I don't think I did anything besides buy this domain, so I'm like, why in the hell does Blue Coat think it's a technology internet site? I was a little confused. So I went and looked at it. I use 101 domain. They're pretty easy. They've got good prices, and for $5 extra, they give you the privacy stuff on it. And it looked like Blue Coat crawled the park domain and had enough keywords in there about domains, administrative, and domain help and all that, and DNS service. They thought it was an internet site, just sitting on the park thing. I had never even touched this site. So that kind of got me thinking. So, okay, age, yes. Trustworthy TLD, yes. Categorized, sure. Like, okay, so theoretically I could use this domain for doing some evil stuff for a customer maybe. But at the end of the day, Is that very interesting? It's a park domain I've been sitting on for a while. You know, everyone probably has a couple of these if they do this for a living sitting in their back. I mean, Larry was talking about he's got freaking 85 of them. I think I've got 10 waiting to get renewed. I think I've got 20 or 30 with 101. I've got a bunch with another domain registrar called Raffletron. Is there other things we can do with this to make this look easy and make it look believable, that's fresh new domains and that doesn't take a lot of labor because, well, again, we're script kiddies and we're lazy, so labor sucks. So aging domains, you buy the domain, you sit there for a while. That requires planning ahead, or as nowadays hipsters like to talk about, everything being vintage. Everything old is vintage, and that somehow sounds better. So I decided to say, let's see if we can find a way to go vintage on this. Domains are deleted and expire daily, and they're just still out there. So domain reputation services aren't checking every single silly domain. Like back to Larry's talks about, you know, ronjeremy.wang. Pretty sure they're not checking to see what's going on at ronjeremy.wang every day, but I could be wrong. So I dug around some and found a wonderful little site called expireddomains.net, and I'm sure some folks in this room have played with it. It is awesome. It just basically searches and catalogs domains that are either expiring or getting deleted and runs through a list of them every night. I believe it's from 6 to 10 p.m. Global Mountain Time. So then it just spews up a bunch of domains and says, hey, look, this is available. Click here, go buy this domain now. The other nice thing about it is you can sign up for an account on there, and it's perfectly free, and what that allows you to do is start actually doing some filtering. So in this example, all I did was I went through and said I didn't want any numbers, I didn't want any consecutive hyphens, I wanted it to be in the United States, and I wanted it to be in the last 24 hours, and just said, hey, show me what you got. It comes back with information that's very handy, like the original birth date of the domain where it was purchased. Another fun one right past that is the web archive, the dates it's got on there. Another thing is SG is the 12-month Google search average for a keyword connected to that. So you can see if people have been searching for it, and then you can see when it was dropped. And then you can see it's available. Okay. So I decided, well, slight sidebar, I have a personal internet rule. I was going to actually start coding something to dig through some of this stuff, and then I searched online. My personal internet rule is wait long enough and someone will code it for you. Big fan of that. Came across this cool program called Domain Hunter. It does most of the stuff and actually interacts with expired domains. It goes and will ask Blue Coat and IBM's X-Forces service to see, have you categorized this domain? And will give you all the answers back. You let it run for a while. It's a little bit slow because it does a bunch of checks, and it'll spit you out an output list. So run it, go get yourself a coffee or something, come back a little while later, see what you got. Maybe it's something useful. The only thing really to warn you about here is Blue Coat, at least, if you start pegging it too hard and too long for responses, will start asking you for a CAPTCHA. So I think it was after about 150 it started asking for a CAPTCHA, so it breaks automated stuff. But depending on what you're looking for, that's not too bad. You can usually get around that. So I decided I want to do a domain just for the conference to have a proof of concept thing. And so I decided to stay Orlando themed and search the word Orlando. And one came up was treeserviceorlando.net. .net. Okay, that's cool. $10.99, extra $5.99 for privacy on it. Sure, let's do it. So back to the thing about the web archive. A lot of people, if they see a weird domain in their logs, they immediately actually go try to connect to it and say, is there something there? Does it look legitimate? And creating content sucks. I'm not a web guy, but back to why create content if possibly someone did it years ago for you. So you just go to web archive, and treeserviceorlando.net has had a lot of hits on it. So cool. Hey, look, I've got a domain. So you can go on there and grab it, have this content. Obviously, the blue stuff's there because this was a guy who owned his own tree service, and that was probably his personal cell number. So I doubt anyone's bored enough to dig this up later and find the number, but I blocked it out. So let's not bug this guy. So ta-da, I've got a web page to put on my domain all of a sudden. One thing for web archive is, as you saw, you have this annoying little web archive toolbar at the top there, which makes it kind of obvious that it's not that. If you want to get rid of that, you just tag the word ID underscore right there on there, and it'll just spit out that version, and then you can just save it. The only gotcha there is I don't understand why, when you do that, it won't actually download stuff like JPEGs or CSS, the style sheets, but that's no big deal. You just go back to the original one that has the web archive, save that one, and just copy all the JPEGs and CSS out of it right into your freshly copied one, and ta-da, you have a full page. So as you see from the URL bar, now I have my content up on my domain, matching up exactly how whoever this was used to run their stuff, and everything's looking good. So I was like, okay, I've got my domain, I've got content there if anyone bothers looking at it, so what can I do to make this more believable? And of course the answer is, why not get an SSL cert for absolutely free, right? I love the idea of Let's Encrypt, and it's probably because of the bad stuff I get to do for a living that makes me love it so much. I'd actually never done anything with Let's Encrypt until this, and I just love that they have CertBot, which you can download a utility to do almost the entire thing for you. You enter, I believe, an email address, you tell it the domain and everything, and you're good. Scariest part is if you're on Linux doing this stuff, you run certbot -- Apache, it finds your configs, it says, is this the host you have configured? You say, sure, it changes your configs for you. It creates a cert, it downloads it, it changes your configs, puts it all in place, and says, here you go, you're done. I like easy stuff. Sweet. So, I mean, it's really that easy. Ta-da, I'm secure. I got it in place, made sure it was working, ran it across Qualys that everyone does, and now I have a domain that looks good. It's a .net, it's a real name, it's got real content, and I'm secure like mommy and daddy always wanted me. It's awesome. So, looking at everything, categorization, yeah, we already looked. I may have missed putting that in there, but for the specific domain, Bluecoat labeled it a vehicle site. Not really sure on that, but hey, it's got a categorization. We're good. TLD, .net, sweet. Got the bonus of an SSL cert. Awesome. So then is the whole thing with the age. So I had just bought this domain, and I did this check initially about a day after I bought it. Back to like we said, these services aren't really checking ronjeremys.wang every day. So I guess this is a little bit of a gamble. How often do they check? Maybe you can find out, maybe you can't. I went to Google and typed domain age history, and this is the first tool that came up. So I decided to go ahead and run it. It came back, and this is the same info I got a day after I bought it, and then I actually reran this last night and included the date stamp on there. It says my 4-day-old domain at that point was 7 years and 2 months old. Mind you, depending on what you're doing with the domain, it might be a little weird that you have a tree service sending you some information. But at this point, with give or take about an hour's worth of time, I now have a domain that has legitimate content. Depending on where you check, it looks like it's over 7 years old. It's not some weird name for some weird TLD. And Bluecoat likes it, and everyone likes Bluecoat, so who am I to question? So that's pretty much the main thing. So that's the end of side A, and wow, that was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to go. So I'll briefly say any questions with that. That was quick and to the point. It worked out. They put me at the end of the day, so you guys have a break. That was the main topic of there. Any questions? Yes, guy who was in my other slide.
What's wrong with .at domains? Notice that on another slide.
.at domains, it's the whole TLD thing, it's very subjective, obviously. Some people like them, some people don't. .at domains, maybe you're weirded about. A lot of people have started using them for clever names where maybe the end of the word ends with at, like the word that maybe, or something like that. A lot of people use that. You see that with commercial stuff these days. At the end of the day, I think everyone, while they will say you shouldn't automatically think a .net or .com is safe, those same people will say that will also admit that the average people out there looking at this will probably look at a .net or .com and feel safer about it. So, thank you for your question, guy, on my other slide. Okay, well, I'll jump into side B, so to speak, and this will also be very quick, and everyone will get to go use the bathroom before closing credits. Side B is, I had no name for it, so I called it guard cats, basically. You can keep your watchdog. I've got guard cats. I am not a gamer, really, but a lot of people have played this game, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2 came out, what, maybe a year ago, not even quite, and it's really neat. If you've not seen it, I'm assuming everyone here has. The heroes of these games go and they're kind of, they're sort of like in a gang. It's sort of that anonymous vibe where they're, hacking the system and all that. And they're running through a virtual world where they're hacking everything with their phones. And that just looks neat. I mean, they go into the back of people's houses and hack into the power unit. I've seen a bunch of videos and clips. And that's totally fantasy, right? But, folks in InfoSec might say, well, there's this thing called NetHunter where all the offset guys manage to jam basically Kali Linux into a cheroot that you can pop on your phone. So it's totally possible, sort of, but in reality, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm old. The one thing that I missed from a BlackBerry was having a real keyboard. I get that it's easy to get used to soft keyboards and type stuff. Typing little messages back and forth or emails is one thing, but starting to put in like dash lowercase s capital T space dash capital P lowercase n, like for like an nmap even. That sucks. That sucks so bad. So at the end of the day, while theoretically you can do most of this cool stuff with Kali on your phone, after a while you're just like, okay, screw this, where's my laptop? And then it's kind of like, what's the point? So back to the theme of we're all script kiddies, that's what scripts are for. So I started kind of just looking through daily stuff that I would do for customers, or let's be honest, just to be a jerk in general, and just started like throwing some scripts together for it. And I'm just going to push these up to a GitHub. If people are interested in it, cool. If not, that's fine. Some of the scripts, the bulk of them are obviously in the wireless stuff. AutoX, all that really does is automatically go through and sniff for probes from devices. My talk here last year was about tracking people based on getting Wi-Fi probes coming out of their individual devices and mapping them to geolocations of people. This is a way that you could grab those probes and maybe go and cross-reference them later for yourself. This also, what it does is once you collect probes for a certain amount of time, it'll let you swap out to the Bluetooth dongle in, and it'll actually connect to the devices and ask for Bluetooth names to see if you can get a little bit more info. Quick probe grab, we'll just grab probes in the area in general. MDK3Me just spews out a bunch of Wi-Fi SSIDs, which could either be used for if you're in an area that maybe is listening for probes or SSIDs to kind of like track people like, say, Target and other companies do. You could use this to spew out some stuff to kind of put a cloud of smoke around you. Or if you want to mess with folks, you can put messages on there, so if they're looking at their phone, they see these. Karma check is something I actually wrote for a SANS white paper where it actually spews out SSIDs and allows you random SSIDs and tries to see if any responses come back for that. Primary use for that at the time for the paper was to see if someone was trying to do a karma or a pineapple attack on you, man in the middle, because 20 character long random string of text shouldn't be a real SSID in most cases. That's there also so you can spew out more noise. MDK downgrade test is to try downgrade tests on Wi-Fi. Nmap.me is just a simple nmap-sp on the network that you're locally on, just so you don't have to type all that out. Paper is a set of scripts I need to finish doing. I have a weird fascination with printers that are sitting online. Direct wireless printers. This basically detects HP printers. If they're open, it connects to it and theoretically may send a message to them that prints out that suggests they look into wireless security and how to fix that stuff. Again, I don't recommend doing any of this. They will be. I'm very bad and stupid and slow, so within, say, the next week. But at the end, I have my Twitter handle on there, and you can find my email address. If they don't show up, feel free to bug me, because then I'll feel really bad, Catholic guilt and all, and I'll get them up. A few Bluetooth ones. Eddystone beacon. Eddystone is Google's attempt at doing beacons. We've been working on some stuff for some of the Facebook beacons. This is the stuff when you're at, like, say, a hit trendy restaurant, you look at your phone, it's like, are you here? And it starts popping up stuff. This is a Bluetooth beacon that's getting sent out, and there's no reason you can't send them out too. Find BTHCI name. Basically, if you hand it a Wi-Fi MAC address, it tries to figure out the Bluetooth MAC address, because most phones, since the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi are on the same chip, the MAC address is either one up or one down. So it will go up one, ask that MAC address for its name, device name, and it'll go down one and try to ask for a name just to ID a device itself. Local exploit, kind of a general thing. Mubix lock, that's some stuff that the guy Mubix, Rob Fuller, put out where probably a lot of people read maybe 6-9 months ago, where he figured he could do plug into a locked Windows machine and basically start offering DHCP addresses and actually get stuff and unlock a machine and get some information out of it. That's kind of a cleaned up version that will actually run on NetHunter that works pretty well. Dropkick is a script I slightly modified, I found, that tries to find certain types of wireless cameras on the network you're on and just starts de-authing them. So it kicks those cameras offline. The original use of that was apparently they found a lot of folks in, what's the online bed and breakfast thing where you can go online and find rooms to rent? Airbnb, that, yeah, a lot of people were using wireless cameras and leaving them hidden in places that people would find out, so someone wrote a script to go turn them off so while you're there, someone's not watching you from where they actually are. Really, the only change I did there was I went through some of my favorite camera brands. I went and found their MAC addresses and added that, so those can theoretically be found with it too, but it's all the other guys' code. The voice VoIP stuff's kind of fun. I'm still working on this a little bit. This actually came out of some work I did for one of our clients that is a voice provider. Call someone, say something. You have to pre-configure a trunk with asterisk, but if you have a trunk configured, you can hand it a trunk name, a phone number, and a string of text. It'll call that phone number, and voice synthesis will read off that text to them and then hang up. Admittingly, I don't have the voice read-off part working. I'm still going through these things. Running asterisk on a Nexus 5 in a root environment's a little squirrely. Ringmybell.shell, it just calls and calls and calls and calls a number. Please don't do bad things with this, people. I'll also document the asterisk minimal install that actually does run on an Nexus 5 because that took quite a bit of work stripping out all the different various modules and everything to get it to actually work on a phone. And obviously that's required to do all these things. And that is it. There's my GitHub. The stuff will be up there eventually. That's my Twitter handle, easy to remember. Like I said, if I forget, feel free to reach out and harass me. Catholic guilt, like I said, it's a great motivator for me. But any questions about that fun stuff? Yay, everyone gets, crap, 40 minutes of their time back. 20 minutes down. Thank you, everyone. Oh. The tree domain I grabbed specifically because I was looking for something Orlando because it was b-sidesorlando. I mean, I'm just from Tampa, but it's like, coming over to Orlando, might as well make it look real. That could be used for sending spam emails for phishing attacks. Honestly, the thing that scares me, I got to admit, this is something that an idea happened, it was maybe 2 months ago, and this kind of got worked out a little bit in free time, so I needed to start testing that, but I firmly believe that most stuff there now, just looking at the domain and an email, would pass it based on the domain. Don't get me wrong, sandboxes, depending on what's in there, maybe a sandbox would grab the actual malware in there. Check the domain, yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like I said, the time check I had on it was done last night. If you check today, it may have, various tools may have updated and said this thing's only, a week old at this point, so it may not. But the idea is that you have a couple-day window at very least. Go find something that looks the best, buy the domain, bring the site back up, and you have a couple-day window, and probably at least that portion you can get there. Yeah. So obviously, that's just the first step to get in the door, depending on what you're sending to them, but at least that stuff's done. Thank you, everyone.